So I will introduce our panel. We'll start with James Pace. He's the author of the book Mother of Exiles. From England, we have Sarah Towle. She wrote the introduction to the book. We have Marianela Watson, who was the glue for the program, the Refugee Respite Program. Jack White founded the Refugee Respite Program in coordination with Sister Norma Pimentel from Catholic Charities in McAllen. Andrea Rudnick, Sergio Cordova. They founded Team Brownsville, and they're the ones who are directly working with the asylum seekers now.
5:30 in the morning, every single morning for months and months and months. And he would sit there and write these stories. Some of them too hard to mention. And he took off his shirt where he continued to show me 18 slashes from a machete. And it's until America realized the suffering of these people that when you can understand that we are a nation of immigrants.
Went backward and raised his hands and said, I'm free, with tears rolling down his cheek. I cried with him. They're shooting women and children. How can that be? And he said, I've got to get out of here too. So he left Managua and came to the United States.
This book is important because the border faces a humanitarian crisis, and many of the municipal leaders are putting their heads in the sand about what this represents for this country because it's such a hot topic. But this can't be a political discussion. This has to be a humanitarian discussion. And so in this book, James has been able to present the voices of the asylum seekers, which are largely left out of policy decisions. The stories are their voices only. And Sarah Towle writes the introduction and sets up the book so that we understand the context for why people leave their homes, what they face when they arrive to the border, what being in a detention center is like, and then what happens when they're left at a municipal bus station. That's where the humanitarian people come in, take over, and make sure they're welcome to the United States.
Seeking asylum is not a crime. Many of our families came here in the same manner, and I implore other Americans to see the plight of the refugee as simply that, a human effort to find a place to raise their families in a free land. The Valley is really a gateway to America. We can be proud of that fact that thousands of people have walked individually thousands of miles to find a home, to find freedom and the opportunity to raise their children.
I had one gentleman, he came up when he was going to leave and he hugged me and he gave me some money from his country. And he said, I'll never forget you. And it's just a lot of stories. We all have that. We all have those stories.
That's the beauty of this book, is that it brings those stories together so that America can know who are the immigrants that are coming right now. Who are they? And this book is going to tell that story.
A settlement house was originated in England for poor people to have a place to go to get food. My mother and some of her friends used this building to start Good Neighbor Settlement House, and they fed people in the old days, back in the 50s, and that's how it all got started. The immigration of people in the South, in Mexico and below, who came to the United States to be free and to have a life. And Jim helped them do that. at the bus station at Good Neighbor Settlement House. He helped. He spoke beautiful Spanish, and he could make people feel comfortable in very, very trying circumstances.
I also want to thank my friend Sarah Towle for writing the introduction. She's an amazing author. I've read her things. I've listened to her podcasts. She's an excellent lady.
Hi, I'm Sarah Towle, author of the forthcoming book, The First Solution, Tales of Humanity from the Borderlands. I went to the Rio Grande Valley in January 2020 to see for myself the myriad humanitarian crises kicked off by such Trump-era policies as zero tolerance, family separation, metering, and the ill-named migrant protection protocols, which never protected anyone at all. The cruelty I discovered defied imagination, and my journey would have broken my heart were it not for the heroes and humanitarians who by then had been flying the tattered flag of U.S. American values for nearly 2 years. Folks like James Pace, Jack White, and Marianela Ramirez Watson, then of Brownsville's Good Neighbor Settlement House, as well as Sergio, Andrea, Mike, Melba, and David, and their citizen army of volunteers called Team Brownsville. They are among the many Borderlands heroes welcoming refugees with dignity, as it should be. They show us every day, most of them voluntarily, who we could and should be as a nation. That's why when Jack, Jim, and his daughter Suzanne, who must be thanked for birthing this remarkable, timely, and very important book, asked if I would contribute the introduction, I did not hesitate. My goal was to provide historical context to the stories James so tirelessly collected, translated, and titled, as well as to introduce him, the U.S. Settlement House and Sanctuary movements, and the dedicated members of Good Neighbor and Team Brownsville, who rolled up their sleeves and acted in the spirit of the Gospel of Matthew to feed the hungry, give drink to the thirsty, and invite the stranger to shelter with them throughout 2018 and much of 2019. I know you're going to love it.
What's important about this event is that asylum seekers are being elevated, and people are finding out the truth about asylum seekers, that these are people that we need to look at as fellow human beings, as assets to our country, and as people that have suffered a lot. And we need to really consider their needs and all they've gone through, and then consider the benefit to our country and the type of welcome that we need to give them. Every day we are receiving asylum seekers, hundreds of asylum seekers on a daily basis, people that are fleeing their home countries, many people from Nicaragua, Cuba, Venezuela, different countries in Central America. And if you came to volunteer with us, you couldn't help be moved by their stories. It makes a profound impact on your life as you are making an impact on their life and their quest to stay in the United States.
Most people don't know or not fully aware of what we do, first of all, but the crisis at the border and what people are facing and why people are leaving their countries. And this book will inspire them, will inform them, and hopefully help them make decisions to help make a difference.
It's a book whose stories cover the waterfront. There's just about nothing left out, so that if they read that and they're open to what they read, they can change their opinion. Some people won't. I wanted the rest of America to know the true situation about the asylum seekers and not have to depend on a politician to tell them or misguide them. These are honest, hardworking people who want to be good Americans.
And the main reason this book has come to publication is Jack White, who founded the Refugee Respite Program at Good Neighbor Settlement House. He found Sarah Towle for us. We changed the format of the book, and now it's being disseminated because of his great fortitude and providing this opportunity.